So you've got a brilliant idea, right? Maybe even the next big thing. But how do you actually get someone to write that check, the one that brings it all to life? Well, the key is crafting a powerful signal that just cuts right through all the noise. And today, we're going to break down exactly how to build that signal, so investors can't help but notice you. Okay, so the first thing we have to get our heads around is the reality for every single entrepreneur out there. The world is loud. I mean, it's an absolute storm of information, pitches, and ideas, and they're all fighting for the same thing: attention. To get funded, you first have to get heard. And that really brings us to the big question, doesn't it? In a world that is so saturated with information, how on earth do you make your voice, your idea, actually stand out from the crowd? How do you cut through all of that noise? The answer? Well, it's all about creating that powerful signal, and it starts with a rock-solid foundation. The very first piece of your signal is your blueprint, the business plan. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but this is not just some boring document you have to check off a list. Think of it more like the architectural drawing for your future success. It's the logic, it's the proof, it's the foundation that everything else gets built on. You know, this quote from Alicia Webb at Pioneer Bank really nails why a business plan is so critical. A clear plan gives an investor confidence because it proves you've done your homework. It shows them you're not just a dreamer with a cool idea, you're a builder who actually understands the market, the model, and the path to making money. So, how do you build that kind of confidence? Webb's advice really boils down to these 3 pillars. First, you've got to research your market. Who are your customers, really? And who are your competitors? Second, you have to solidify your business model. How exactly are you going to make money? And third, project your financials. What are the realistic numbers behind your whole strategy? This is your blueprint in action. But look, a logical blueprint isn't enough on its own, not by a long shot. So let's move to the second and just as crucial part of your signal, your story. If the plan is the brain of your pitch, the story, that's its heart. It's the compelling narrative that makes an investor not just understand your business, but truly believe in it. And this is where Guy Kierlensky from Liquidity Group adds a really critical layer. A great story isn't fiction, it's a direct, data-driven narrative. It's about showing what you've already achieved, your traction, and proving you understand the key numbers, your KPIs that drive your business. And he mentions one concept that's especially important: unit economics. So, what exactly are unit economics? Well, to put it simply, it's the basic math of your business. For every single unit you sell, whether that's a gadget, a subscription, a service, whatever, do you actually make a profit? For an investor, understanding this is completely non-negotiable. This right here perfectly illustrates why those unit economics are so important. You hear people talk about burning money for growth, right? Well, that's only okay if the unit economics actually makes sense. Good burn is a strategic investment. Every dollar you spend is designed to generate more in the future. Bad burn, well, that's just setting cash on fire with no clear return in sight. All right, so we have our 2 essential components. On one hand, you've got the logical, well-researched blueprint, and on the other, you have the compelling, data-driven story. When you bring these 2 powerful forces together, you create something that can finally cut through all that chaos. And it all comes down to this simple formula: your plan that provides the credibility, your story that provides the momentum, and together they create your signal. A clear, compelling, and just undeniable message that tells investors not only that your idea is great, but that you are absolutely the right person to make it happen. This is how you get noticed. So, we've laid out the blueprint, we've talked through the narrative framework, we've shown you how to combine logic and story to create a signal that's powerful and clear. Now, the only question that really matters is the one right here. What is your signal going to be?